Waiting for you to arrive again.
Hey guys, Ben Wheeler, the Mercenary King, here to talk about my good friends Murakumo. No, they're my good friends, but not like that though. So basically, I'm going to go over my Bandit Yasui deck, then I'm going to go over my Haki Vague deck, then I'm going to go over my two Great Nature decks, which I'm actually pretty happy with right now. But this is actually one of the funnest decks I've ever created, and I'm always tweaking it a bit because there's a lot of different effects that can be pulled out just by changing a lot of the different cards in a greater variety more than other decks, it seems. My starter is Fugen. He's the new starter. Shadow Stitch, Rearguard, G-Break 1. At the end of the battle, that this unit attacked a Vanguard. that your unit attacked Vanguard, any unit, as so long as this unit is boosting and the attack did not hit. Choose an open rearguard in the back row. You can move this unit to that rearguard circle. If you move this unit, stand this unit. So basically, Bandit Ape is an on-hit draw. So let's say 15k to Vanguard doesn't hit, put it here. 31k to Vanguard doesn't hit, put it here. 15k to Vanguard doesn't hit, stand trigger over here, put it here. 20k, it hits. Oh. Basically, that's what I use them for. Partly because the grade 1 lineup in this deck is kind of a little slim, and it also disappears disturbingly regularly. So, I need someone like him just to fill in the gaps. He has also got a skill, tap this unit and choose a normal unit from your drop zone, put it into the bottom of your deck. If that card has Shadow Stitch, choose a unit and it gets plus 3k. So basically, you give it to something like, I don't know, Midnight Crow, or Yashabayashi, or Bandit Ape. And it basically can hit Vanguards more, harder. It's a pretty good card all around, and it doesn't really have any weaknesses. Then I run 4 Stealth Beast Drench Serpent. Shadow Stitch, G-Break 1, put this unit in the bottom of the deck. At the end of battle, your unit attacked a Vanguard that this unit boosted, just like he does. If it doesn't hit, you may pay the cost of you, Countercharge, and Soul Charge 1. Choose a unit, and it gets plus 4k. Now, you could actually combo this up so that a unit like Bandit Ape can get plus 3k and plus 4k. What you can also do is, say, give this one plus 4k for 16k. This is the 12k attacker. Or, give something like this 11k. There's just a lot of uses for it, but honestly, I really use it for the countercharge, soul charge, as well as for the fact it goes back into the deck. Because I also run Hidden Scroll. He is probably one of the best stand triggers in the game in general. G-Break 1, put this unit on the top of the deck. When this unit is placed on rearguard circle, pay the cost. If you choose a rearguard not of the same name, you can choose her. Search your deck for 2 cards with the same card name as that unit. Call it to separate rearguard circle. Shuffle your deck until end of turn. Put the units culminated this effect to the bottom of any order. So, besides the fact that this is a really good card, you can copy it with him. You can copy Onibayashi with him. You can copy Yashabayashi with him, or Stealth Rogue. And if you run something like Kagamajishi, that means that all those copies get plus 2k, and this unit can attack from the back row. He's really just a versatile card in any Murakumo deck, and he also does a lot of work despite his abilities. This is a Margot clone for critical triggers, Soul Charge 1 plus 3k to something. Again, same targets as before. For heal trigger, I like this heal. It's the Cleavage. 1 Obero card. Obero card's ability is when it's placed on rearguard, counterblast 1. Choose something other than itself. Copy it. Call it to rearguard. End of turn, it puts it in the bottom of the deck. I just run 1 just to fill out things. You never know when you need just 1 more. Especially when you don't want to minus yourself, like with Hidden Scroll. So yeah, he's just there. He does his job. 3 Ataka. This is the Stride Enabler, and it searches out Yasui's. I do not want to ride Bandit Ape as my first Stride, because that would be 25k. Also, it's a 10k defense. Now, let me be very clear. 10k defense doesn't leave you crippled. It does not stop you from defending yourself. Most decks run abilities where they hit 16k, 21k, or more. Like my own Mega Colony, it's very easy for me to hit 21k over very many circumstances. I can't think of very many decks, my Schwarzschild deck, where being at 10k is a vague problem. Okay? Just letting you guys know. However, it's the Stride ability that I want to keep. That's the only reason I will use this guy besides Stride Enabling. Next we have Stealth Dragon Onibayashi. Shadow Stitch, Auto Rearguard, G-Break 1. 4 of them, by the way. Just like I had 4 of these Stride Enablers and 1 Obero card. At the end of the battle is your unit attack to Vanguard. And so in other words, this first attack, it didn't hit. This unit gets, when a unit's attack hits a Vanguard, put this unit into the soul, so long as you have a Vanguard with Yasui or our ability called Shadow Stitch, which is Yasui and Atago. Hold on. Shirabaku Buster and... Nope, not her. So it's just No, it's not even Shirabaku Buster. So in other words, the only strides that you can really do are ones with the Yasui name. Because none of the other ones have Shadow Stitch. Which is funny, actually. To a kind of a point. So in other words, it must be referring to normal grade 3 rear guards, like, say, Arigato Spark, which does have Shadow Stitch. You may pay the cost if you do send it into Soul, draw a card, and countercharge 1. Basically, this pays for all the counterblasts that you use in the game, and it mitigates minuses, and it frees up space for Fugen, and it shuffles out cards. For example, let's say that we had 1, we placed it, then we summoned 2 more with Hidden Scroll. This unit swings, it doesn't hit. This unit, I swing 5k at a Vanguard, doesn't hit. I swing at Vanguard, it hits, all of a sudden, 3 go into Soul. It's a pretty good system. I draw 3 cards. I unflip 3 damage. During a Homura Raider turn, that's actually pretty good. However, you don't really want to do that. You know, it'd be kind of a thing to psych out your opponent more than anything else. Even though it would get you more cards to use his ability against in a Homura Raider turn than it would anything else. But then again, there are ways for you to get around it. Quite literally seen Homura Raider go off multiple times. Which is just gross. It's pretty gross. I've seen it. My other deck, my Hayaki Vague deck, does it better than this one. But it is just such a gross combo. I don't really run the good cards for it. But, yeah, it does work. 4 perfect shields, 4 normal perfect shields. I need to protect my Bandit Ape. I probably should run a couple Dismal in this deck as well. But I don't like running generics or Dismals. I should run like 2. Just to protect, well, 1. Just to protect Bandit Ape. Anyway. Stealth Dragon Habayashi. The second ability is Continuous Regard. If you have a grade 4 or greater Vanguard with Yasui, in other words, anytime you stride over Yasui, or you have the Yasui Stride, this unit can attack a Vanguard from the back row. Very nice. Now, its other ability is Auto G-Break 1, Soul Blast 1. When this unit is placed on Rearguard Circle, you may pay the cost. If you do, until end of turn, this unit gets plus 2k and Shadow Stitch. At the end of the battle, this unit attack to Vanguard. Attack did not hit. Countercharge 1. Choose one of your units plus 2k. Honestly, I just use him for the fact that he can attack the back row and give himself and others power so that they can hit the Vanguard, preferably from the back row. He is, however, a good card. Again, damage on Flipper. It does show up a bit in my deck to use counterblasts, so I'm always grateful for it. I kind of wish he let you have an on-hit draw or something. Especially for a very precious Soul Blast. Stealth Rogue Dokube. He is one of the frog guys. There are some giant frogs running around in Murakumo. G-Break 1, this unit attacks the Vanguard, this unit gets plus 3k. I basically use him with Kagamajishi, with others, to, get a lot more attacks out from the back row, from other places. The fact that he gets plus 3k, so it's 12k, then plus 2k from like Kagamajishi, and then let's say I tap something on give it another 3k, turns it into a 17k that I can attack from the back row, which is always more terrifying than a 12k that I can attack from the back row. I have a lot of ways to use him, and I like it. Lastly, I run 4 Midnight Crow for my grade 2s. This is a really old card. Counterblast 2 once is placed on Vanguard Rearguard. If you have a Murakumo Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, search your deck for one name, Stealth Fiend, Midnight Crow, call it to Rearguard, shuffle deck. At the beginning of the end phase of that turn, put the unit in the bottom of the deck. So, because it says beginning of the end phase, Lock overcomes it. It's one of those weird things where I looked at the thing. Now, keep in mind, I'm only a guy who interprets the rules, and honestly, I'm not that good at it because usually I get caught up in an idea for it. But as I understand Lock isn't necessarily the first thing that happens. It starts during the beginning of the main phase of the end phase. In other words, things that happen beginning of end phase, lock, unlock, then main end phase, then this. Now keep in mind I might be wrong and I might be misinterpreting some emails from Bushiroad that sometimes gets pushed out. Bushiroad is known to modify the rules a little bit. However, they're not as bad as, say, Yu-Gi-Oh! They're certainly not as bad as Magic sometimes is, from what I've been hearing in casual conversation. So basically, he's there, she's there, it's there, he's there for some early attacks. Let's say that your opponent grade 1 rushed you. Counterblast 1, swing, 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 kill their rear guards. They disappears. Sure, you used up 2 counterblasts, but guess what? This deck kind of unflips a lot of counterblasts. Boop, boop, and I'm sure... oh wait, yeah, no, I don't do that. It doesn't really bother me too much. We run 3 Bandit Ape. Bandit Ape is the side Vanguard for side rearguard grade 3 that I like. Rearguard grade 1. Rearguard. Auto. Put this unit in the bottom of the deck. When this unit attacks its Vanguard, if you have a Murakumo Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, draw a card. Yeah, so he's an on-hit draw. And then you put this unit at the bottom of the deck. Guess what? Every time you can summon him basically for a counterblast. With Yasui. On stride, counterblast 1, pay the cost. Choose one of your rear guards. Search for 2 copies. And call them the separate rear guards. At the end of that turn, put the effects bottom of the deck in any order. So then we do Kagamajishi. Bam! Hit these 2. They're now 12Ks that can attack from the back row. Or you can do something like Shibaraku Buster, who's more interesting. He is once per turn G-Break 2. Choose a card from your hand discarded. Choose a card from your hand return to the deck. Choose a unit. Copy it. Call it to rearguard until end of turn. The unit called by this effect. This unit performs a dry check only for the first battle of this turn. And at the end of turn, put that unit in the bottom of the deck. So let's say you go with him. Put this unit there. This unit swings 5. Let's say he gets 2 triggers. Because, by the way, Twin Drive activates off of his ability. You send him wherever you want. Then you play your Vanguard, who then you play other abilities. There's just, and it's an on-hit draw. So it does its Twin Drive, then it gives you the on-hit draw. It's fantastic. Bandit Ape is one of those cards that because it was a promo and because there was other things more exciting going on, and because the support that was out there at the time didn't work with him, he was overlooked. But now with Yasui, now that it's so free and easy to copy, Bandit Ape, I think, will see some play. Now, keep in mind, he's a little bit out there. A lot of people don't like using him. There's other cards like Arigato Spark, which, has Vanguard and Rearguard abilities. Or some other thing for a different gimmick. But I really think he's pretty solid. The Yasui's other ability is Stealth Rogue of Revelation Yasui. G-Break 2 once per turn. When the rear guard is put into your deck, do the effect of one of your cards. So in other words, let's say at the end of turn you're returning this to the bottom of the deck. Search your deck for one card name, same card name, call it to rear guard, shuffle deck. Basically, it gets you free pluses. Let's say a Bandit Ape didn't hit. Well, you can just keep it there. That's basically what it says. Because striding goes away before things return to the bottom of the deck. I'd love to see an informational video over what exactly happens in order in the end phase. But I should probably do that myself after research. A lot of research. Now for my strides. My strides are a bit of a mess because I don't actually have very many of the strides myself. I am borrowing it from a friend. This made a sound. Who is, sort of funding me on this. But for this build, I sort of do it like this. Let me get all of these. Right now there's 3 cards that I don't have right now. Shibaraku Buster, Yasui Tenma, and Shizuyuki. I have her somewhere, but I don't have her on me. Basically, what I do is something like this. Take out 2 Homer Raiders and a Kagamajishi and an Onbibu Raider. I only really need not as many as those. So I run this here. Hold on. Let me see this real quick. So yeah, hold on. Let's get also rid of one of her. So basically I would run 4 Yasui Tenmas, 3 Kagamajishis because he's very important, then 2 Homer Raiders, and then 1 each Kyohime, Onbibu Raider, and Shibaraku Buster, because you don't need too many Shibaraku Busters running around. And then for G-Zone, I'd probably run 2 of each. And I'll describe their abilities in order. So let's start off. Sorry about that. I know it's very confusing. So let's start with no, let's do the ones I don't have last. So Kyohime is an interesting card. Soul Blast 1. When you attack, it's a Vanguard. You can pay the cost if you do. Search for a rear guard. Search your deck for up to 1 same card name. Call it to rear guard. Shuffle deck in a turn. Return that unit to hand. So in other words, Yasui's effect doesn't go off, but hers certainly does. It's also why I had to give up Onifuda in favor of him, because Soul. Soul is a kind of a problem with this deck. However, it recovers Soul pretty damn easily, kind of, sometimes. Yeah. There's all kinds of weird things that you can do, and if you're not careful about your soul, you will actually screw yourself out of a really good thing. So I don't really use her too often in this build. Next up is Onbibu Raider. Choose one of your rear guards. When this unit is placed on Vanguard, choose a card from your hand, call it to rear guard. Choose one of your rear guards, gets plus 2k, and this unit can attack from the back row. Vanguard from the back row. So I usually use him on him, summon up 2 copies with Yasui, and then have some fun. 2 Homer Raiders. Counterblast 2, flip over a copy of itself. This unit gets -1 drive check. At the end of the battle, this unit attack to Vanguard. Choose one of your rear guards. If you do, choose 3 of your rear guards with the same card name as that unit. You may return them to the deck. If you return 3 cards, stand this unit. And shuffle your deck. Basically, he attacks twice for 4 drive checks for what's a -3 to deck. However, with Yasui, it's not really a minus. You can, minus yourself 1. If I ran Lake Divers, it would be a -1. Which is such a good deal, especially since it does it. Sure, it shuffles it back in, and you can use triggers, by the way, which are fun, especially since it shuffles the deck rather than just puts it at the bottom. So you can play, I've one time played 3 heal triggers, sent them back to the bottom of the deck, shuffled it, and then started to pull one right at the very top. You might say it's sacking, but hey, I just sent back 3 heal triggers. I don't know what you want from me. One of the main engines in this deck is Kagamajishi. When this unit is placed on rear guard, if you have 2 or more units with the same card name, which by the way activates as soon as you put a second one on there, and it does count the Vanguard, this unit gets plus 2k, and this unit can attack from the back row. Anywhere, by the way. It doesn't have to attack the Vanguard. So, Bandit Ape, right? You have a Bandit Ape. You stride with Kagamajishi, you copy it with Yasui. Boop, boop, 12k, 12k, 10k, or 12k, 12k, 10k. Swing, swing, stand trigger, stand, stand. That's how you do it. This is how the deck works. It works really well with Kagamajishi, who's weirdly one of the hardest things to find. If I had my way, I'd run one Shibaraku Buster, who's once per turn G-Break 2, Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 2. Choose a card from your hand, discard it. Choose a card from your drops and return it to the deck. Choose one of your units, copy it. It gets the ability that it drive checks during the first attack of the turn. Like I said before, use Bandit Ape. End of turn, return it to the bottom of the deck. It does get twin drives, so you do recover whatever cards you lost, as well as the fact that there are now 5 triggers, potentially, running around helping your cause. It's a pity it demands to be on the first battle, otherwise I could have even more fun with it. Lastly, I'm going to run 4 Yasui Tenmas, choose a face-down card of the same name, turn it face up, which is why I run 4 rather than, say, 3. I'd rather run 3. Shadow Stitch, Vanguard, Counterblast 1. At the end of battle, let your unit attack to Vanguard. If it didn't hit, you may pay the cost. If you do, search your deck for a card, same card name, call it to regard, shuffle deck. And who do you choose? Shabayashi, Dokube, even Midnight Crow to a certain... No, I'm not, you don't choose Midnight Crow. But you choose all the other ones. Really, he's such a great card. A lot of great abilities. He just does things, and he gives you so many attacks that on the last turn, it's just mayhem. By the way, I think I forgot I had these out there. I will be replacing, once I get my hands on them, these 4 cards with the crit trigger that moves in the soul if you have a Yasui and lets you draw. Just because it gives me a little more oomph, and I don't really use his ability because it minuses my hand too much early game when I don't want it to be minused. Lastly, like I said before, I run 2 each, except I think I'm going to replace one of these with a Dismal. So it's like Dismal, 1, 2, boop. And that is Yuzuki. Was used placed on G-Guard. During the battle, your opponent attacked the Vanguard, search one of your rear guards, move it to G. That unit gets plus 5k on top of whatever their normal guard is. So 2 5ks become this. You can do that with perfect shields. It's pretty interesting stuff. Oh, wait, can you do it with perfect shields? Yeah, as long as it's placed on G, it counts. Search your deck for 1 card with the same card name as that unit, call it to G shuffle deck. Maybe don't do it on purpose. But, no. Basically, it lets you guard more from the field. That's it. I wish I could have kind of a better description of what it does, but that's what it does. In my next video, which will be Hayaki Vague, I'll talk about, her in less detail. But basically, she chooses something like, say, Midnight Crow, sends it up, it becomes a 10k blocker until end of battle, and I search for a card, same card name as that unit, call it to G. So in other words, it's another plus 5k, so it becomes a 15k guard of a card you don't really want to keep around. And I guess it just goes to the drop zone at the end of turn. Which is a perfectly good, valid use for it. Especially since I don't want it cluttering up the deck. So yeah, that covers my Yasui Bandit Ape deck. It is one of the funnest decks I have. And I have a great deal of fun playing it. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Imagine you got it. Spin Wheel of the Mercenary King. Signing off.